Hey guys, Uncle Ray, welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. You know, there's never been a market more manipulated than crypto. I've never seen anything like it. And I just want to give you a brief video and talk about what I expect, kind of my brief game plan for the rest of this bull run. I'm extremely bullish, but I am definitely not bullish across the board that you can just buy anything. So I'm going to try to give you some alpha. We'll take a look at some charts, and I'm just going to rant a little bit because I know if you're watching this, you're probably frustrated. But guys, stay in the game. That's all we can do. I still believe this is a phenomenal opportunity, and I want to give you some direction and encouragement and try to get you in the 10% club. Because as you've heard me say multiple times, 90% of everyone that invests in crypto lose money. And the goal of this channel is to change that. All right. When you look at the charts today, it's pretty much green across the board. And, one thing that frustrates me is the amount of FOMO and FUD that goes on at the same time. And that's another thing we're about to get into. I just want to show you one more chart right here real quick. And if you're not familiar with this liquidation map, guys, this has changed the game for me. I primarily short, but if you understand why the markets are so volatile and understand how easy the exchanges and the market makers and the whales and the institutions can manipulate markets, it will help you a lot, especially when it comes to getting a game plan and taking profits. And this chart basically shows you what's about to happen. And guys, it's about 90% of the time it's pretty accurate. Now, on days like this, when you look at it, a market maker or an exchange has to do something drastic to move the market. Odds are, because it's pretty much, they chase liquidation, and it's pretty much equal. So my educated guess for the remainder of this weekend is they're going to take it down to like 102, maybe a little higher than that, maybe lower, and they're going to take it back up to 104, 104.5, knock out that liquidation, and then kind of stay neutral. Now, if we get some other news, this thing could go either way, but the odds are whichever way it goes, it's going to come back. Now, if we get some really negative news with the wars and all that stuff, or Trump pumps out some type of tweet, we could easily head back down to 100K. All right, but let's get into something. Because if you type in Bitcoin, just type into Bitcoin in YouTube, I want you to look at something. The first thing you see is major threat. Basically, Bitcoin is going down. The second thing you see is 37 trillion bombshell confirms Bitcoin is about to explode, right? And you scroll down, whales rotating out of Bitcoin. If they're rotating out of Bitcoin, they're not rotating into altcoins. And then you see trillions coming, bank confirms, right? Don't miss out. And basically, the more you just keep going, it's the same thing. Someone's extremely bullish. This is about to happen. Those are the people that I stay away from the most. But I would say this, guys. I'm going to post a link if you guys want to do it. I may even make a video. Let me know if you'd like one. But this video right here, let me clear that. There you go. Institutions are leaving crypto. This guy is extremely smart. And I listen to him about a lot of things outside of crypto. At least I entertain what he has to say. And that was a pretty good video. And I agree with a lot of what he says. Because once you understand the risk and how the big boys, the Wall Street thinks, guys, they're not looking for this high risk stuff. And they are happy making 20, 30, 40%. Right. And the more you understand how they are going to manipulate the market, it's just so easy for them. Like, I'm going to give you an example. And if you think it through, you'll witness that it happens constantly. Every time, I want you to think about it. If you've been in this whole bull run, this whole cycle rather, every time you start feeling good about your bags, they dump on you. And then it dies. And then you just watch it go down, down, down. The smart money starts stacking because they're going to do it to you again. They've done it like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times in the last 3.5 years. Just like it just happened. So for me, every time these markets start to pump, I get ready to short. In my opinion, it's the best way to make money in all of crypto, and anyone that doesn't understand how to short or is leaving money on the table, consistent money, in my opinion. If you want some help, we'll talk about that at the end. All right, let's look at where we're at right now. This is the others compared to Bitcoin. And I've been using this for about a month. I put this blue mark down there, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. And I said, I think we're going lower. And I drew this other yellow line right here at the bottom. Guys, this is pretty much the average. It's not the extreme low since 2017. And one thing that caught me off guard, if you look at the cycles, I knew we were in a cycle, but I didn't think the low of this cycle would be the same as the low as the last cycle, and definitely not the one as low as 2017. But guys, that's where that yellow line is. You know, Benjamin Cowan is always talking about, he was talking about Ethereum has to go home. And I've mentioned this before. I didn't understand that. Basically, it means it's got to go all the way down against Bitcoin to where it has in every cycle. Well, same with altcoins. So the odds are, if you're stacking, it's going to go against you. Now, at best, if you have high conviction and you don't believe that we're going lower, maybe start dollar cost averaging into high conviction plays. But if you're not willing to let it go against you, say 20, 30% minimum, you got to be out of your mind to stack, because the odds are you're just going to buy and it's going to go against you, and then you'll sell and lose money again. The number one thing I could tell anyone is don't run out of dry powder. And the way to keep dry powder is if you do stack and the FOMO kicks in, whether it's 2, 3 days or 2 or 3 weeks, start getting that initial investment out. Immediately, it will help you a lot, because when we look at Bitcoin dominance, guys, we're not having altcoin season until we see weakness in Bitcoin. And right now, even if the markets go down and you start to see Bitcoin go down, the alts are going to go down even more. We are no way, shape, or form getting to the point where the smart money is going to roll out of Bitcoin and start stacking altcoins, in my opinion. There's too much craziness in the world. Now, I think we could have a pump anytime, especially in the stock market, and maybe make new all-time highs in the next 3 weeks to 2 months. But I believe if that happens and we still have all this turmoil with the tariffs and the wars, and get to shorting, get to taking profits, because we're going back down. We're not going to just go to new all-time highs and the bull runs back on with all this craziness, because smart money does not like risk. So if they throw in 100 million, $1 billion, and they're up 3, 4, 5, 7, 20, 30% in a week or two, they're going to take that off the table. And if they have any reason to think that they're going to start losing money, they're going to cut their losses. The number one goal for Wall Street is to not lose money. They don't average down and do anything that retail does. All right. Now, to put a positive spin on everything, I have 100% conviction that we are going to have a heck of a run in crypto, especially with Bitcoin. In the stock markets, I think all asset classes are going to rip, because they are printing money around the world. The chart you're looking at is the global M2 money supply. And we now have more money flowing in the markets around the world than any time in history, even more than COVID before they started pulling all the money out. The United States government is basically diluting the dollar. They're printing money. It may not be literal, but they're literally creating new money to do different things. And the entire world, from Japan to China, you name it, they're all hurting. They can't pay their bills. They can't grow. So they're all printing money. It's probably going to ignite some inflation, but things have to go up. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean that all these altcoins that have no value whatsoever outside of speculation are going to rip. The old projects that have not hit a new all-time high or even came close in this bull run, there's a good chance they're not going to hit a new all-time high in this cycle. I personally would stay away from the majority of the old projects, especially if they had bad tokenomics. All right, that being said, guys, if you need some help with your portfolio, someone to look at it, help you get a game plan, get you a strategy to dollar cost average in and out, and how to get dry powder, and how to capitalize on these markets, I have a coaching course, have Zoom calls. My coaching course has for your portfolio that we'll take a look at is 18 videos. It does everything for you. It gives you all the information to get a game plan. And then we look at your portfolio and I answer any questions to help you with that. Now, I also have a shorting course, which I think everyone on the planet needs to learn to short, if nothing else, to learn to hedge. And if you're hodling altcoins, say for the next year, and you don't have a hedge position, and if you don't even understand that, you probably should buy that course, and it comes with a Zoom call as well. I think it's the most consistent way to make money, because right now, for me, I have some good bags that I have high conviction in, like SUI, Solana, and Ethereum. I have a percent of my portfolio where I'm still stacking like AI16Z and Vader and virtuals and some higher risk reward projects, but it's not the bulk of my money at all. And the number one thing I'm doing until I'm convinced we're in altcoin season, I'm just going to keep shorting every single pump. And if any token runs out and hits a new all-time high or starts to spike, I'll give you an example. SUI's doing well right now, or SWI, that's SWI. It's up almost 16% of the day. The best way to short is when you see a token like that pumping, get ready to short it. Now at 15%, that doesn't put enough percentage in my corner. So, but if I look up today and this thing's up, 25, 30%, I'm going to short it. Now, when I short, guys, it's more scalping. It's not long term. It's not waiting for next week. It's immediate. Because here's the strategy that I'm going to share some free alpha for the people that short. You never short on the way down unless it's a bear market and altcoin season's over. You short when things are pumping on red days. We're having a red day. Look at this. Let's go back to 200, 1 to 200. See that XCN's up 6%. So basically, in the top 1,000 tokens, most of them are red. Well, that tells me that there's an above average, like 90%, that SWI is going to close in the red, or definitely give a lot of that back. And my favorite thing to do is literally a lot of times on these red days, there'll be some token come out of nowhere and it may be up 2 or 3x. Those are the best shorts. Anyway, I'm rambling on, but guys, I'm extremely bullish. The M2 money supply should be your guide. And if we do crash, which I wake up every morning. See, I wake up in the morning, I want to see nothing but big red circles. Because for me, I believe we're going to have altcoin season. I don't think it's going to look anything probably like what we've had in the past cycles. But I know Wall Street, and I know how they think. And one thing they're going to do when Bitcoin has had a big enough run where they have made millions and trillions of, not trillions, but millions and billions of dollars, and they've done a 3x or 5x in Bitcoin, and they have all that profit, they're going to sit there and go, we can take 5-10% of this money. Even 2% is a massive amount of money compared to retail. And they'll say, let's play around. Who cares, right? Just like with my portfolio, I have probably 20% that, hey, it is what it is. It's high risk. Well, that's how Wall Street thinks, because if they make $500 million and they throw $50 million back into altcoins and manipulate these low liquidity tokens and manipulate retail, and they lose, which they probably won't, they don't care. So when that happens, and it will happen before the cycle's over, that's the opportunity. But guys, you can bet, and it's not financial advice, but if you're holding altcoins, when this bull run is over, it doesn't make sense. And I say that with love, but historically, everything has dropped over 90%. 90%. Every altcoin that's ever existed, when you go into the next cycle in the bear market, it's going to crash. So if you put in 1,000 and you got 10,000 and it's your favorite, it's going to change the world because you believe the hype and the FOMO from the tribe or whatever you follow, and you made that $10,000, you're probably going to watch that thing drop all the way back to where you bought it, or maybe to a couple $100. And then it may not even come back in the next cycle because Wall Street's here, new projects, better technology. One thing that goes obsolete faster than anything, guys, is technology. So projects that with the ledgers and this so amazing tech from 5-10 years ago that we thought was going to change the world, that's already obsolete, and a lot of people don't even know it. And guys, when it comes to DeFi, banking, payments, liquidity pools, instant settlement, all that, trust me when I tell you, I did a video on this yesterday, and I'll pin it at the end if you want some more information. That is going to be as common as a bank having ATMs and credit cards, right? That's just how the world works. There's nothing special about this tech that's going to allow 99% of these altcoins to change anything. The world is just going to be taken over by the banks, the governments, and Wall Street. This is just tech. And it doesn't matter if they have a patent or anything. And matter of fact, if they have a patent, it's not positive, because that means you're 100% centralized. And big money doesn't want to be centralized. Now, the centralization is going to come from the private blockchains because, quite frankly, people want someone to call, like their JP Morgan broker, right? And they don't care if it's centralized or decentralized. They want someone to call, and if they have an issue, they want it to be guaranteed. So no matter what, guys, decentralization for retail, I don't think is the future. The decentralization might come from like the legacy banks for what they use it for. But no one, think about yourself, unless you're 25 years old and you love tech, no one wants to buy someone's house and let's say with $1 million, and you send me the deed and I'll send you the $1 million. And if we have an issue, there's no one to call. Just too bad. That is not the future. So anyway, I'm rambling on, but guys, I'm extremely bullish. If you need some help, reach out. And whether you listen to me and take me up on the coaching or the services or not, do yourself a favor. Do some non-biased research. Crypto is moving extremely fast. Take profits, or you're going to become the prophets. So remember, if the majority were right, the majority would be rich. All right, guys. Let me know what you think. And hey, watch the video that I created yesterday because Wall Street is taking over crypto and they're probably more than halfway there. And projects like Quant and some of your other projects that you think is phenomenal, Wall Street already has a plan. They're taking the token away. They're using subscriptions to use their ledgers, their rails, stuff like that. This game is nothing like people are talking about. A lot of people I see talking about crypto, they're still quoting things that people said 3 years ago, which is irrelevant today. Anyway, that's all I got, guys. Let me know what you think. Hit that like button and come back, subscribe, be part of this community. And hey, hang in there. Even if you're negative right now, if you're going to stay in crypto, stay focused. Get a game plan. Take your emotions out of it. That's the biggest record because, guys, we can wake up Monday morning and everything's green for 3 straight days. And guess what? The average person watching this, and I say this with love, will start stacking. 3 days later, a week later, we're back to red for a week and a half. That's it, guys. Anyway, take care.